she was trying to send a news crew to my house. I was like,
what a nice person.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Jesus.
She's like, we have to interview you. We're gonna send a crew to your house. Like, what? And then I tuned in the news, and there was this is what it was really weird. There was helicopters flying over Phil's house, and then there was that guy who was in Cocoon, who was like a really famous actor for a while, but he lost his fucking marbles. Who was that guy that was in Cocoon? He was a young, handsome guy.
Steve Gutenberg? No.
Is that his name?
I mean,
Gutenberg? Yes.
Yeah.
It was him. Yeah, that guy lost his mind. He lost his mind, and his career had fallen apart. So he pull up a photo of Steve Gutenberg. Let me make sure it's him.
Before you. Yeah.
Let me see. What is it? Is that what he looks like now? Yes. Yes. So see if you can Google Steve Gutenberg at Phil Hartman's murder. Because he had decided that he was going to talk to the police. Yeah, or not to. He was going to talk to the press. So he put on like a suit, and he got out there, and he was out there talking to the press, and we were all like, "What the fuck is he doing?" I mean, you don't hear about this guy anymore, right? He kind of vanished.
Yeah.
But he had already vanished back then. It was already like...
It was post all those movies, post to the Police Academy and all that shit.
And there's a weird thing that happens to some of these guys where
they're like...
It's all gone.
Right. And then they're like, oh, this is an opportunity for me to get back on camera.
And we were all of us were like, how well did he know Steve Gutenberg? What the fuck is going on? It was the strangest thing. Him standing there with a suit on, talking to all the press and talking to people.
So weird.
It was so weird. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he did have this wonderful relationship that Phil never talked about.
Yeah.
But I was pretty close to Phil. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just, I think there's a certain weirdness to talking to the press about someone who's just been murdered, and people that are willing to like go on camera and give interviews and stuff. It's like, aren't you mourning? Aren't you freaked out? Like, aren't you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just was talking, this is a slightly changed, but it was, someone was like, do you remember where you were when the OJ verdict was written? I was in high school, I climbed a tree.
Why'd you climb a tree?
So that people would be like, where were you when the OJ verdict was written? In a tree.
I remember I was with my girlfriend at the time, and she threw her hands on her face and went, oh no. Oh no. She just kept saying, oh no.
Really?
She just went, oh no. Oh no.
Were you in LA?
Yeah, we were watching it in my apartment. We were watching the verdict. And I was dumbfounded. I thought he was going to jail. Everybody thought he was going to jail. And she just kept going, oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, I just remember being in high school.
I knew Ron Goldman's sister too.
Really?
Yeah. That was real weird. Yeah. Yeah, I knew his sister. And,
well, because also like her Ron Goldman's father, and I have no, like, I can't imagine, I can't even begin to fathom what that whole experience would be for anyone. But he was like, he felt very performative to me. Like he felt like he was, again, I say this with all due respect, like I don't know what I would have no sense of what that experience is like, but there are certain people who you're like, oh, you do like being on camera. I know something horrible happened to you, but you do like being on camera. I mean, I have no idea.
I don't know either. I mean, who the fuck knows how you would
I don't know how I would react.
Your son was murdered by some superstar.
Yeah.
Like, just think about how crazy that is. Not just murdered, but murdered by a famous guy.
Yeah. Who then is like flaunted and got off.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And it was a part of this weird race thing where it was post Rodney King. So there was a lot of people that felt like there was some sort of a racist aspect to it. That like there was racist cops who got off with Rodney King. So now it's their chance to get one for black folks.
Yeah.
And
it was
wish me luck, guys.
About it, you know.
It's that crazy. Did you watch the?
Pretty sure I'll beat him.
Did you watch the OJ, the documentary, and then also there was the FX show?
I watched one episode of the FX show, and I was like, "Damn, Cuba Gooding Jr. fucking nailed it. He really seemed like OJ in it. It was really good."
Yeah,
but that's all I watched.
The documentary interesting because it sets up like L.A. all like that, the
All that
preceding years leading up
Post
to it,
riot.
post riots, all that stuff, like, and you're like, oh, it does, it sort of, it does like lend itself to be like, oh, this was a perfect confluence of events that led to this thing of like, you know, racial, you know, everything that went into the OJ trial. It's fucking nuts. It's crazy.
It was a strange time. It was
Yeah.
a strange time because it just seemed like the world was made of something that was way more flexible than I ever thought it was before. Like, I never thought O.J. Simpson could be a murderer. I thought murderers were bad people. And that the people that you thought of that were good people on TV, you would never think of. Like,
Mhm.
O.J. was always so friendly and smiley, and he would have that big laugh,
Yeah.
and he was handsome.
Yeah.
And,
Talking about head injuries to CTE, it's like you're like, I wonder what.
oh, for sure had to do with it.
Yeah.
100%. 1,000,000,000%.
Right.
In fact, his doctor said that if the trial were to take place today, his doctor at the time, they would introduce CTE.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see all those dudes. I mean, like
Yeah.
the level of violence that there he is.
There he is. That's
Yeah.
right. Police Academy.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun.
He's,
Oh, that's right.
so he's funny in Naked Gun. But it's interesting, you go back and watch that documentary, and it's like, you know, his buddies, his good buddies who stood by him.
That picture.
Yeah. His good buddies who stood by him, talk about him in high school, and he's kind of like, he was fucking throwing his friends under the bus in high school. Like, all three of them would be, like, doing some, like, in the bathroom, like, doing some shit they're supposed to be in class, and the principal would come in, and the three of them were all together, and OJ would just, like, saddle up next to the principal and be like, what are we gonna do with these two guys? You know what I mean? He was, like, throwing his buddies under the bus. You're like, oh, he was... CTE fucked him up. I don't know what kind of man he would have been, like, whether he would have been so violent or whatever, but
So
you're
he's
like...
a piece of shit plus CTE.
It kind of felt like he was a piece of shit his whole life.
Well, how about the book, If I Did It? How crazy is that he wrote a book? If I did, I didn't do it.
If I
But
did,
if I did-
did you see have you ever seen his prank show? Juiced?
Oh yes, that's post the murder.
Oh yeah, post the murder, man.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Did
crazy.
you ever see his rap song?
No.
Oh,
Might as well get a-
Jamie, find it.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at
Oh
him.
yes,
I'll just
yes.
do a
This
fight.
was part of that juiced, I think, thing, right? It's in that same thing. And
Was
it's
it? Part of
it's
Jesus.
just like, and it's all these like
Young little hotties.
young little hotties who look like Nicole. It's so fucking weird.
What is that picture of him with the glasses?
That's from
The
one of the
bald head.
sketches.
Look at that.
That is
What?
crazy.
What in the fuck is that? Boy, he can go anywhere with that. He can go to Disneyland
Yeah,
just
he'd
like
be
that.
fun.
That's
Have
what
you
you
seen
do if
that?
you're that famous and you did something awful like that.
You gotta go in disguise.
How many chicks bang him just because he's OJ?
Now?
a lot.
You think people are gonna
Yes.
bang him?
Yes, 100%.
I
What did it say?
wonder.
OJ pretended he would what? What does it say?
Cuckolded this guy.
He trying to cuckold this guy? Oh God, the poor guy. Can you
I don't
imagine?
know, man. I wonder.
100%.
You
There's a
think
lot
people
of there's wacky broads that want to bang murderers.
Really? Yes,
Yeah.
I buy it. Yeah, I guess so.
There's a guy that we had in here, Nick Yaris, who went to jail. He was on death row for 20 years for a crime that 22 years for a crime that he didn't commit. And he said since getting out, he's just in it. He was asking on the podcast for these women to stop sending him emails. I'm married. I have a good relationship. Like, please leave me alone. Like, stop testing me. And like,
Really?
yeah, they just throw that pussy his way.
Interesting.
Yeah, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
Yeah.
That guy apparently got all these women were sending him pictures and email or what was letters actually.
Yeah.
And he wound up marrying some woman.
Really?
Yeah, they
Manson.
all
Manson's married. Manson got married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of them get married. Yeah.
Fuck.
When it comes to milk, Fairlife is ultra filtered for 50% more protein and 50% less sugar. Wake up to a one-of-a-kind kind of milk. Fairlife.
The World Cup was on today. I went to get a cup of coffee and there's a World Cup on.
Yeah.
And these guys are gathered around watching the World Cup. To me, it's just some dudes running around. I don't know what's going on. I don't. It's fine. It's great. It's good. But for them, there was clearly, and for the world, for all the people watching in the stands, there's an elevated level of passion for that. Now, if that was your thing, I would say, Maybe you could be a commentator, or maybe you could be a player, or maybe you could be someone who produces one of those soccer shows or something like that.
Right.
There's plenty of gigs for that.
Right.
But if that's your thing, and instead you get into shoe sales, like Al Bundy, you know, after a while that shit chips away at you. You're like, this is not what I like. What I like is
All
I
on
want to play
ground
soccer, I want to watch soccer,
Yeah.
I want to talk about soccer, I want to commentate on soccer.
Yeah.
You got to find the thing, and then you're like, oh, not everybody can commentate on soccer. That is true, but it's also a loser mentality. Like someone can, yeah,
Right.
not everybody can. But how many people try? That's the
Right.
other thing. Like people say, not everybody can be a successful comedian. You're right. How many people try though?
Right.
Not that many people try.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
more people could do it than try. I think there's a bunch of people out there that could. I always tell you about. I've told you about this guy, my friend Dave Dolan, who was my boss. He was a private investigator when I was a kid.
Right.
I got a gig driving him around. He needed an assistant. Really, he got a DUI. They took his license away and needed a driver. So he was the funniest guy
Yeah.
I've ever met.
Yeah.
He was right
What
up
up, guys? What's up?
Wow.
So
Just waiting on
funny.
homie to log on.
And, you know, no
That's basically
aspirations
it.
for comedy at all. And his cousin was Billy Downs, who was one of the owners of the Comedy Connection in Boston. So his cousin was a former comedian who owned a comedy club, and just randomly became friends with him from an ad on like one of those newspaper ads for
Yeah.
a job seeking a private investigator's assistant. I'm like, that sounds like a cool job.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but this guy easily could have been a comic. Like 100% could have been a comic.
Sure.
He was a funny fucking dude, and he was always the guy that if a bunch of people were to say around, he would say something like totally ridiculous.
I'll just start an
look you in the
OCW
eye and
fight
say
just to
it,
start
and
it. I'll
everybody
quit
would
it
be
once he gets
laughing.
on.
He was just natural.
I don't
He was just a naturally funny guy. Just didn't do it.
Did he like being a private investigator?
Loved it.
There
Loved
you
it.
go.
Loved busting people.
Yeah. Cheaters.
Mostly people who were cheating on their insurance. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
mostly. There was a few. He had one guy who kept asking him to take pictures of his girlfriend getting fucked by this giant bodybuilder dude. And after a while, he's like, "Hey, dude, enough with this kinky shit. I'm not giving you any more fucking pictures." He like threw it at the dude. He's like, "Get the fuck out of here with this." He goes like, "What else do you want,
I don't know if I
bro?
should fight him. Just
I got the pictures.
That
I'm not
is-
gonna get more pictures, you fucking idiot."
That's so funny. That's so funny. Why didn't the guy just hire a photographer, right? Like,
Well, the guy was this like really wealthy but diminutive, very non-masculine man, and he had this bombshell girl that he had figured out a way to get a part of,
yeah.
but she was just getting
yeah, I just have
drilled on the
YouTube
side.
going on in the
Did she
background.
know he was getting pictures taken?
I don't think she did. No, I don't
Because
think
that's
she
what
did.
it sounds like to me. It sounds like a fetish game where he's like, oh,
It seems like it, but I don't think it was. I think it was just a weak guy. Didn't know what